Hey, what is up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Grand Line Grinders here. We got episode 15, and it's going to be a bit of a smaller episode, smaller cast, both because Vivi was busy today, and I just got off of a big, long subathon. It was my 30th birthday recently. I'm an old man, so we're just going to talk a little bit about the tournaments that happened over the August 30th weekend. And of course, go over the new power rankings data and whatever else we think is interesting about the format. So, obviously, as always, I'm Dad Halfbreed, and I'm here together with my wonderful co-host Kebby G. And how you feeling this week, Kebby?
I'm feeling good. I played a little bit this week. I recorded Calgara. I recorded a few others. I think Kuzon was one of them too. And then I did some other Smoker and Whitebeard because I'm still going through all the leaders. So I played Smoker. So now I'm
Nice.
done with. Now I'm finally done with OP2. So now I'm going on to I think starter decks that came right after between OP3, 2, and 3. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about the rankings and a little bit. We will be discussing a little bit of the very quickly about Ace and Newgate, which is a deck that's coming out this Friday for people in the West. So we're going to dive straight in.
Yeah, the power rankings this week are definitely interesting. There's a lot of there's been actually a decent amount of movement. There's two new decks on the top 10, it looks like. And it's nice because I don't know. I've been very, very happy with the metagame right now. It does feel like it is one of the most diverse metagames we've had in a long time. And it really does feel like every color has a good deck you could play. Like there isn't a mono purple deck. I guess you could play purple Luffy. It's not that bad. They don't have it on the top 10 list or even in the like top 12 on the like matchup spreadsheet, but for every color there's a good deck you could play, right? There's like a good green deck, a good red deck. Purple is a supporting color, but it's still in GP and blue P. There's a good blue deck in Kuzan. There's multiple good yellow decks. You could play Kalgara or Enel. There's a good black decks of Lucci and Teach. So it really is like the world's your oyster. And I know some people call it a jungle format, but I like you know bushwhacking through the jungle because every now and then you're going to stumble upon something that you didn't really expect, and I feel like that's a nice feeling.
Keep in mind when the Nell did not make top 10.
Yeah,
Uh,
Nell pushed out by Kalgara now.
Calgara and Nami took it out.
Yeah,
So I played a little bit of called Gara. This exact build that they recommend is the best version. Man, does that deck feel good?
yeah,
Absolutely good. Like it
yeah,
feels. I normally don't like yellow as a color, but it feels kind of nice. It feels kind of like what Shirahoshi should have been.
yeah.
Like Shirahoshi probably should have been that kind of same kind of strategy. You put a Dawn
Agreed.
on it, attack with it, then you get to cheat something into play. Then it would have been probably been a relatively good leader like
Yeah,
Calgara. I don't know why they went with that template of a can attack, but you cheat something down
yeah.
versus
I
like
mean,
Calgara.
Shirahoshi in the anime is very, very weak, right?
Yeah,
She's like a shut-in. She's never really left the house. So I understand the like can't attack for thematic reasons, but in the card game, it's just very, very rough. But yeah, Kalgara's in a great spot. Like the 5 drop Kalgara is so good, and it's so easy to draw a card with it every turn. Either you draw a card off your leader ability, just you add your own life. But when I found out that the Kalgara draws you a card just when you like deal a damage to the opponent on your turn and you draw a card, it's so good, right? It isn't just when you use the leader ability you draw a card, but it's actually worded like the half of Nami of blue yellow Nami leader effect, right? So it's like when any life leaves the life area um during your turn, you draw a card. And it feels so sweet. The 5/6, of course, also really helps you uh be able to gain life with Nolans as well. And it's so much harder to kill Caligara now that you have 8 decent ways to gain a life. You have 4 Noland and also 4 Kuma. Like Kuma is just so excellent in Caligara.
Even the version I played only had 3, but still, um,
Yeah,
3 Kuma. But yes,
still.
absolutely. Like having this curve be so adjusted like it is right here, it's not that hard to get Calgara down, a Nolan down, and a 4 drop. So you basically intend on. It's just like you kind of flood the board, and like it's actually quite awesome.
Yeah, and when you hit the Ohm Holy combo, it feels really good as well. I think Caligara, like, its 2 weaknesses are that it doesn't really have anything that good to do before 4 dawn, right? You just have one searcher. So sometimes it can be a little slow to get going, but once you do get going, it's really strong. And definitely the deck does have a bit of a Bonnie problem right now where Bonnie just complicates it a lot, right? Bonnie is just so good against any leader that has a when attacking trigger because, like, if you don't attack with your leader first, it'll get rested, and then they can rest some of your other cards, and then that's not even thinking about like 10 drop Doflamingo stopping your leader from doing anything for an entire turn. But outside of that, you have a lot of really good matchups against some of the slower decks, like Shanks and what am I thinking of?
Luffy.
Yeah, blue purple Luffy for sure.
And we could just look at it, right? Because Calgara is good against Grape Luffy, Blue
Yeah.
Purple Luffy. I think I beat up Kuzan.
Yep.
Um,
You go wider faster than Kuzan, right? They go wide on 8, and you go wide on like 5 dawn.
and since nothing in your deck is really on play, like you do beat up on Teach,
Yep.
so that seems pretty straightforward. Um, and then it slightly looks like it's favored. It's really favored actually into a Nell,
Yeah.
and then Sanji pretty favored.
Yeah. And, since Kalgar can add life to its hand so easily, it's so tough for Enel to really, starve or deprive you of resources. But yeah, Kalgar being weak against 2 of the best decks in the format, namely Zoro and Rayleigh, is a little tough.
And
But
Bonnie.
you can definitely farm some other matchups, which is nice.
It's weird enough. I think I beat. I thought I beat Rayleigh in my video.
You can. It definitely is doable, but sometimes they just go too fast for you to stop, especially if they have a bunch of 5K pings. And of course, Mulligan is just an easy way to
Yeah,
kill something that you might not otherwise be
like
able to get rid of, right? Like the Kalgara,
yeah.
exactly.
You have to get rid of Colgaros. That way they turns off the Nolan, so you could actually
Yep.
get ultra frisky. So yeah, I actually like this deck. This deck was very fun. It was very just remember always go second if you can. This deck
Yep.
is definitely one that wants to go second because you want to drop mainly probably a holy on 2 plus use the ability to get down also maybe on Nim or a Wiper. So you can
Yeah.
get 2 bodies down on turn 2. But overall, yeah, this is a fun deck. Like, I highly recommend trying it. And the other one we should definitely talk into a bit more since it's new is Nami because I do want us to highlight decks that are brand new to the top 10
Yeah.
because they deserve that little bit of shout out. So this is the
Yeah.
most winning version of Nami. Of course, they're playing Kuma. Besides that, that seems to be the only the only OP 12 card from it.
Yeah.
Where do you think Nami stands right now? Like,
I think Nami is pretty good. There's definitely some matchups where it's really nice, and having the like cheap blockers is nice. Like, there's a bunch of decks that are actually quite weak to pudding right now. So, like, being a pudding deck can put you in a really good spot. And I think Nojiko is secretly a really, really good card too. Just like bouncing a 5 cost creates so much tempo. If you're like bouncing their Cavendishes or anything like that, it just is so good. And Yeah, the Blue Yellow Nami, it also went like 5-0 in a recent online event that gets hosted weekly. And that one was an interesting version. That was like a Seven Warlords version, which is playing the Sengoku Searcher along with like 6-8 Boa. And I think it's Love Arrow or something. It's like a one drop event that lets you bounce one of your characters to give something +4. But this one they were playing Arrow instead. But it definitely is interesting where like Nami is like you play for Kikunojo, uh, for Nojiko, and like for Hiyori and for Zeus, and then there's a bunch of random stuff that you never know what you're going to play against. I mean, the 8-drop kid is like mandatory for sure, but you can always get thrown off by what tech card the Nami deck is playing at the time, right? Like this one's playing Kairos, which is kind of new. I haven't seen that quite often. But it's a deck that puts on like more pressure than you think, and being 7K leader is pretty nice.
But yeah, talking about pudding, actually something very funny happened to me recently. So I was, of course, doing OP2, and of course, Ivankov happens to be one of the ones that's from that set.
Mm-hmm.
My opponent kept putting me every time I went down to 0 or
Yeah,
very
I
low
mean
on
that's
card
what
advantage.
happens when
And
you play against people in open lobbies. There's some people who don't know how to play the game at all, but
I
yeah,
mean,
it's definitely funny. They just give you 5 cards. They want to take off your leader ability or something. That's so
yeah. So
random.
basically, they stopped me from drawing two from, of course, what's her name? The 6-drop that gives you two additional cards plus
Play
the leader.
Inazuma.
Like, yeah, I think that's right. The 6-drop purple. I mean, blue guy girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Inazuma. Yep.
So then you draw four in your end step. They just kept
Yep.
keeping me off of my leader ability. It was funny. Um,
Wow. Rather than let you draw 4, he let you draw 5. That's so funny.
yeah. It just. But yeah. So this it's absolutely a fun deck. I played it one time. I have not played it since, and I did pretty well on stream with this deck.
Yeah.
Um,
7 cards in hand is just so many. So the fact that you still draw a card as long as you have 7 or less just means like you're just almost always going to have 7 or 8 cards in hand. And this is a good leader at just like I attach 4 Dawn to my leader, attack you. I attach 4 Dawn to my leader, attack you. And then you just play some other small stuff on the side, and then you like just slowly wear them down because you're drawing 2 cards every turn, right?
yeah, I'm hoping they start printing more cards like this that have that like a condition for like an overly powerful ability on a leader instead of like restricting how much life it has.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this probably could have been a 5 life leader, but I know that's like one thing they do. They decrease how much life they have to increase the power level of the effect. But if
Yeah.
you restrict how the effect goes off,
Yeah.
then it'd be kind of. But that is one way that I guess you could balance leaders better. I think. Um,
There's
uh,
definitely some interesting stuff like the
in
Hiyori combos or whatever. I've seen a lot of people play Hiyori and put Baby 5 into life to draw a million cards. Because Baby 5 is also a new card, I think.
draw two, trigger,
Yeah, trigger draw 2. It's
and a
just like
2K.
another neat little thing you can do.
Yeah, it's a 2K as well.
Yeah.
Weirdly, there's not a there's. I guess you could in pudding. I was just thinking, is there a way to abuse this with Nine Mom? I guess you could if you.
What, the yellow one?
No, never mind. It doesn't really work because you have to also have Luffy. I was thinking like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
because Nine Mom was doing.
and Blue Yellow Nami is definitely one of those decks where I get beat up by it pretty frequently, but every time I play it, I don't win a game ever.
We cover those two decks, and for the most part, every other deck has kind of been here for a little bit. Teach is
Yeah.
still kind of holding on. Um, Kuzan's
Yeah.
win rate is kind of dropping, and so is Shanks. Is this any kind of indicator that next week they might fall off?
It's kind of tough where like Shanks is one of the decks that like it isn't that great overall, but it is like really good into Bonnie. That's like a big one. It's like really good into Bonnie. And Bonnie is super popular right now. So um and
Yeah.
it's kind of just like an inconsistent deck. So it's like the percentage loss is definitely just because you only have one searcher and no other like consistency pieces. But I think people are just figuring out how to play Kuzan or how to play against Kuzan. And Kuzan kind of has the opposite problem where it's not good against Bonnie, and Bonnie is very popular right now. So
So, I mean, do you think Shanks is still in the transitional period? I mean, because it has to find some way, I think, to either tackle either Zoro or Rayleigh to stay relevant. So it's going to have to adjust its mid-range pieces to either hit one or the other.
yeah,
Um,
the fact that it's terrible against blue purple also really sucks. But it's also just a deck that is in a giant premium booster waiting room. Like the fact that Shanks is doing this good without premium booster really makes me think that this deck is going to have sticking power. Like it'll probably drop lower in the top 10 list, but it's like once premium booster comes out, I'm going to be like scared of Shanks a lot more just because there's a lot of good cards that the Shanks deck can play, right? You get like another blocker that provides you with consistency because it's discard a card, draw two. And then you also have another character that's like removal immune, and that removal immune character also gives you minus effects to make your other removal characters better. So Shanks is one of the ones where it's like I wouldn't recommend that you play it right now unless your metagame has a lot of Bonnie, like a lot of Bonnie. But it's definitely like hold on to some of the Shanks cards because it's gonna get a lot better soon.
I'm trying to remember what else was in it. I know it has Lucky Roo.
Yeah, it's Lucky Roo and the Trafalgar Law.
Oh yeah, the 6 drop 7,000.
Yeah, that card's very good. Very, very, very good.
And then also should probably see play in uh Smoker too.
Yes. Yep, because it's a punk hazard type.
Yeah, but sadly we're not getting a good law for Rosante.
Yeah. It's kind of how I feel about green purple Luffy right now, too, where like green purple Luffy is good and it has some good matchups, but its bad matchups are like the most popular decks in the format right now in terms of Zoro, Rayleigh, and Bonnie. Like you can beat up on a lot of other stuff, but it also feels like a premium booster waiting room deck because when premium booster comes out, you get 4 drop Luffy, Searcher Nami that has counter, so you finally get to put more cards with counter in your deck. And there's a good 2K Straw Hat Zoro as well.
But
So
but the question would be more of does any of those cards help against Rayleigh or Zoro?
um, the 4 drop Luffy definitely helps against Zoro and just having more like definitely the premium booster cards help the most against Zoro because you have a blocker that can't be rested basically. There's the premium booster Zoro says like if this would card would be rested, you rest one other card you control instead. So that helps a lot against the Green Zoro matchup. Rayleigh is tough no matter what, but helping both the Zoro matchup and the Bonnie matchup makes a huge difference.
Okay, yeah, because it would help against Bonnie as well.
Yeah, the same cards that help against Zoro should help against Bonnie.
Okay, so yeah, that is some pretty important increases in meta percentages for it.
Yeah.
So
It's higher up on the tier list just because it can always punk you out, right? Like Sanji Pudding, Luffy Taro Sanji Pudding into Jag Atling 6-7 Luffy, just like if you are not ready, you will get punked out by a million 7K swings and then, dead man's game.
yeah, so the thing we're probably getting a little maybe a different podcast is at some point we probably want to discuss like what are chances of what one of these decks. Someone asked me I think recently, what decks should I invest in now that would be still relevant post OP13. So OP13's meta, you know, card pool is a lot stronger than this one. So, like, so someone did ask me that question. Um,
Yeah, it's mainly Zoro Rayleigh, I think. But OP13 is still so new, and we don't know what they're going to respond with. I mean, people are adapting in a lot of different ways to the metagame, and it's like the weeks are still very new. And the fact that a lot of the tournaments are 3v3 just means that there's going to be like, um, 3v3s often lead to like less variations in decks because like so many people are just playing the same thing on the team, right? They just want to have three good decks on the team rather than like any individual person being like, this is the deck that I like. Um,
yeah, so I guess I never really learned about what the 3 versus 3 structure is. Like, do they all have to play the same deck, or typically do they? How do they set up
I
match
mean, the
pairings and
way the
stuff like that?
3v3 deck works is like you can't have um you have to have three different leaders, and you can't have two leaders that are the exact same color. So you can't play like Black Emu and Black Lucci, but you could play like Black Emu and Red Black Sabo.
And this
Yeah, I
all the
mean, the
same
most
person?
rotation proof decks, or not rotation proof, but OP13, like currently it's Zoro and Rayleigh that see play in OP13, but who knows? It's still way too new. We don't have that many events, and we don't know what Bandai is going to do. But yeah, the top four decks are all like so good. These like 54% win rate or almost decks.
Yeah, 52.5 to
Zoro being the
54.
worst win rate is kind of surprising to me, like out of the top four. But
But it also sees double the amount of play, so it faces itself
yeah,
more.
yeah,
So,
more play usually starts to smooth out the win rates closer to 50%. But
well, yeah, I mean, because I mean more the high percentage of decks people playing this deck, also probably a half of them are also people trying to play the deck as well, like new. So like you
yeah,
have your mixture of your experienced ones and then your non-experienced ones in this grouping. Um, so it's flatlined. Except plus you face
yeah,
the plus you face itself more often at being at this high rate.
for sure.
So like typically your win rate is lower when it's this high percentage of matches. I mean,
Yeah, Zoro is definitely one of those decks where it's like, uh, it's kind of funny that its losing matchups are the number two and number three deck on the list, but it's so good against everything else. Like everything else, you know? Rayleigh and Bonnie are definitely really tough for you, but like Zoro's just a really flexible deck, and people are coming up with a bunch of different tech cards, so you're never exactly sure what you're gonna see from your Zoro opponent. Like, you know, the 5-drop Tashigi and stuff like that is obvious, but like some Zoro decks are playing Electric Luna, some are playing the like event that KOs 2 rested 4 costs, some are playing the 9-drop Zoro, some are playing Vanderdecken and Hody Jones. So there's like a lot of things that you could just get like randomly hit by with Zoro that really helps it a lot. And it's just all four of the top four decks are just like consistent game plan, and they're really good at playing offense and defense. Like Bonnie is the one that is like the least offensive, but if need be, it can be like an aggro deck and just jam with a bunch of Hody Jones and Cavendishes and Carrots and stuff. And like, you know, Zoro has a million counter cards. They have the blocker, Mihawk. Rayleigh just like has 5 million 2Ks in the deck, right? Because every single one of your events is also a 2K. And, Blue Purple Luffy has its blockers and, of course, all of its counter events. So it's like really easy for these four decks to like change gears depending on what they're doing at the moment, like whether they're beating you down or trying to out resource you through different defensive grinding elements, right? Whether it's Blocker Mihawk for the green decks, Conqueror's Hockey for the Rayleigh decks, right? Conqueror's Hockey -1 to everything, or just plain old Gum Gum Giant plus stuff for Blue Purple Luffy.
I do find
But
it.
like,
I do find it a
sorry.
little interesting though that the top three decks they all have strict four decks they're bad against, and then for the most part they're pointing at each other. A little bit of extra stuff like Kuzan and Nell, but I mean Zoro's bad into Rayleigh, um, and then both of those top two are bad into Bonnie. But Bonnie's bad into these two. So like they all bat into four decks. So in
Yeah,
reality, they're actually at a tier higher than Luffy, which is bad into five decks.
yeah,
So I mean, I would put one, two, and three in kind of their class of their own.
agreed. They're really good. They're just very consistent, but they do have bad matchups. And the thing is, like, this top 10 list is not enough to show like all the decks that are good and viable. And it's nice to have these like this top three or top four, because there's a bunch of rogue decks that are good into maybe two or three out of these top decks. Or you can pick one deck specifically that you really want to beat up on and do worse against the other two. But it leaves like all of these decks leave a lot of room to target them specifically, which is really nice. And I think it's good that like you were talking about, some of them have overlap. Like some of the good decks are bad against the same type of deck, but like some of the bad matchups are very different. Like obviously, I guess it's true that Zoro and Rayleigh are both kind of bad against yellow decks, but like Bonnie's really bad into Teach and not that great into Blue Purple. And those like specific bullet target style decks make a metagame more interesting, I think.
Yes, because it's actually Bonnie, I think, that allows more decks to exist.
Yep.
Because these two kind of have an overlap of what decks are bad against, which actually would, if Bonnie didn't have the opposites of what it's
Yep.
bad against, I think it would cut down deck diversity. But since Bonnie is able to take these top two down, then it's also allowing other decks like Blackbeard to show up, like Luffy to show up, and
Yep.
Shanks to show up because they're good into Bonnie. Which normally, if Bonnie didn't exist, they probably get closed out by Zoro and Rayleigh because they're both crushing them. So I like the fact that Bonnie is actually allowing the meta to actually be more diverse
Yeah.
because that.
I mean, I'm of course biased because I'm a Bonnie main and I love Bonnie, but I think it's just a really well designed, like fair deck where all of the stuff you're doing is pretty normal, right? Like you're resting characters and you're keeping them rested and attacking. You're not doing anything crazy usually in terms of like skipping costs or cheating Dawn or whatever, right? Like I guess Cavendish is the only exception to that, but it's still like almost all of Bonnie's stuff is very on the table. You know what I mean? It's like on the table, you play a thing, you use its effect, and then you move on. And it's all about combat and stuff like that. And I think that leads to good game states and good gameplay. But I'm really happy with where we're at. And the fact that there's a bunch of decks that can get over 50% without one of the best decks really like smushing down the win rates of everything else feels really nice.
I mean, especially after OP 13, I do kind of worry though that maybe Green is getting too much untapping Dawn.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of excessive in OP 13. And plus you have Mihawk, then you have there's quite a bit of them that actually now like Cavendish, etc. They all just keep untapping
Yeah.
Dawn. So I mean, I am kind of worried that maybe Green is kind of being a better ramp deck, kind of, because they're able to use more Dawn than
Yeah.
any other color other than purple. So, I mean, maybe that's what they're wanting to be their identity for green, but I would think green is more of a rest characters than untapping
Yeah.
Dawn. But it seems like they're pivoting more to untapping Dawn.
Yeah. I mean, Bonnie's definitely in a weird spot come OP13 because it's like not that great into Emu. It's too slow against Emu. But Zoro's playing a bunch of the OP13 green cards, and that'll be interesting. But I'm trying not to worry about OP13 too much, and I'm trying to like stop thinking ahead as much as we used to and try and focus more on what we're playing now and like what might happen once we're actually on simultaneous release, which is going to come soon.
Yeah, especially since they're starting to spoil EBO3 cards.
Yeah.
So obviously that means EBO3 is early 2026.
Yep.
So I'm assuming we're going to be at parity mid next year, maybe post summer is when we'll
Yeah.
be probably together. Um,
That's the hope
it definitely. I wish it would come sooner than that, but
for sure.
the sooner the better. Because I guess like people have. I've seen so many posts on Reddit asking, like, complaining about West content creators because we, of course, we want to get excited about the new cards, and of course we have a delay, and when we can get excited about them, and if you don't take the opportunity now to start getting gameplay in before the East solve it, it
Yeah.
takes away our creativity in the West. So like there's like this thing where like all the West players start shifting and pumping out a bunch of East content just because there's new cards that haven't been solved yet. So
Yeah.
like people are complaining on Reddit because of that. It'd be nice to be able to once we get to everyone's on the same meta, like that wouldn't be a thing anymore.
No, I agree. And it's hard to avoid just because when new cards come out, people are going to translate them and talk about them and, make their decisions or make their opinions known before it's all like solved and there's data on it. But I do think people are being a little,
Over
what's the
dramatic.
word? They're being a little dramatic when they say that the format in the West like is solved because I don't think that's always true. There certainly is a bunch of innovation that happens when we get the cards over here. But yeah, it's smaller tweaks and metagame changes and other things like that. But the ban list has made things feel really interesting, where it really is like, okay, what do we do now? It's not just pick blue, purple, Luffy or aggro deck. It's actually really like, oh, okay, my mid range deck now actually does have a chance at beating blue, purple, Luffy every now and then if I draw good. And the hyper aggro decks are kind of being pushed out by the mid range decks that can pivot to being a little more aggressive if need be. And I'm just excited for the premium booster shakeup because I think it's going to shape up more things than people are expecting. And but for right now, I'm also just super happy with the metagame we have. Like I've just been playing games nonstop, and it still feels good.
Yeah, I mean, because PRBO2 is going to shake up ours differently than the East because they have, the OP13 cards as well. With
Yeah,
First Us, like, we don't have that. So, like, getting the Lucky Roo for one set early, like, we could actually do some more stuff with Shanks
yeah.
and solve that deck since it might not be good enough in the East. But
And so many more of the premium booster cards matter now that blue purple Luffy isn't such an omnipresent thing, right? Like all these other decks finally get a second chance at the limelight, like Shanks, Smoker, maybe even Kobe. You could re-earth. There's a bunch of interesting things you could do.
it does make a question. Like, so did they do this BNR just to shake things up so it wouldn't be just a rollover meta, like a hand me down
Yes,
meta? Or do you
yes.
think they did it because they actually needed to hit Luffy?
They definitely needed to hit Luffy, but they just have the like precedent that like the East is basically just their like testing format for the West. Because in terms of player base, it's not even close. I think the East player base is like 25% size of the West player base. They literally have like there's 3 or 4 times as many players playing the English cards than there is playing the Japanese cards. It's not even close. So they just use the Japanese meta as a testing ground, and the Japanese players just aren't as like they don't care as much as a tier 1 form about a tier 1 format. Both A, because cards are cheaper, and B, tournaments are much smaller and shorter, right? Like the vast majority of tournaments in Japan are between 5 and 7 rounds. Like you can get a serial by going 5-0 in Japan. It's unthinkable in the East, right? Or sorry, in the West. It's unthinkable in the West. To get a serial in the West, you have to go like 9-0 minimum, sometimes 10-0. You have to win 10 rounds straight or go 9-1 to get a serial. But yeah,
Okay, so
there's locals in the West that are 5 rounds, right? Like, and that's their treasure cups. Their treasure cups are 5 round events. It's crazy.
what you're saying is I need to get money and then move to the east. I'm kidding.
I guess,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
if you want to
Collect them
stop
cereals.
feeling the oppressive push of American capitalism, yeah, but there's, of course, its own downsides of moving over there.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the actual tournament. So regionals also happened this week. Tag games, regionals. So first place was Bonnie, and then we have a Yamato list. But fourth place was Kuzan. So
Yep.
Zoro and Kuzan are right here. And then of course we have 2 Luffy decks back to back. Is there anything spicy? I know like I've watched Flacco talk about these, and like this was like the old school generic one with old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
I
is
mean,
some.
the Yamato deck is definitely spicy. I did not think Yamato would be able to do well, but there's some really interesting stuff. And the deck list has finally gotten to a spot where it feels good against Bonnie, just because, like, Ashura Doji is a messed up card, dude. Ashura Doji is a messed up card. Against every 5 life leader, that card's so busto. And so it's just really good against Bonnie and really good against Zoro and, really good against Shanks and everywhere. Really good against Kuzan, too. Just like this 3 cost, blow up a 5 cost is just so pushed.
Yep.
And
KO
yeah, the
Tachigi.
4 Kuma I like a lot as well.
Yeah, it is a little weird that they picked up Kuma, but I guess it makes sense because I mean this deck often comes down to the very end. Like either
Yep.
you're gonna get you need to survive one more turn and you should be able to win the following turn is often how it feels like. So having this extra life might be enough. But the numbers seem like they are kind of correct. It's interesting that they're going on the Mihawk plan again.
Yeah, Mihawk plus Hawkins and Kikunojo is the normal thing. Yeah.
And Kinemon, technically, but
Yeah, that's the worst option.
yeah, you're definitely not putting a Momosuke. Not putting that down as well. But you
Yeah.
guess you could play this.
Yeah, you can play that as well. It's not terrible.
Yeah, so you put that down, KO something. Not terrible. But yeah, picking up Kuma hurts my wallet.
Yeah, I'm sad that we didn't get to see the gameplay from this tournament, but Yamato is a deck that is significantly harder to pilot than it looks because you have to be very careful about how you navigate killing them without dying. And being a 4 life leader is, of course, very tough. And also like figuring out when to banish them and when not, and where to put your Rested Dawn. It looks like a simple Unga Bunga deck, but I don't think it is actually. And if you learn how to like sequence it properly and actually be a little bit more long term with it, right? Like try and try and play the game a little longer rather than just like jamming double strike with your leader every turn, you end up getting rewarded pretty heavily. But it's
Yeah, I do agree. It looks like it would be like simple deck like Zoro when it comes to
yeah,
a go tall on your leader type thing, but no, it's much more complicated than Zoro. I would say.
I agree.
Um, because you do need to know when you actually play Izzo, right?
Yep.
Because if you do it too early, you don't have enough a Dawn to be able to put onto your Yamato enough to actually get a good attack in. Because you need enough to where they can't counter out of it, so you actually get the banish. Otherwise, they'll just counter, and you're just kind of left without
Yeah.
banishing. So you do need to figure this one out correctly. So you definitely don't want to play this on like turn 2. It's more like a turn 3. You'd be at 6 Dawn or 5 Dawn. So
Yeah.
2, you basically this would be an AK attack. It's a little bit more reasonable, but
Yeah, and you're trying to like bait out counters on some smaller double strike swings so that your bigger double strike banish swing actually goes through,
mm-hmm.
and balancing like the Shura Doji and leaving them at 3 life so you can use it more often, stuff like that. But I mean, this guy played really well. Second place is an insane finish for a Yamato deck, and losing to Bonnie definitely makes sense in the finals.
Yeah, and then we have Zoro getting, like I said, third. We have Kuzan. Nice to see Kuzan like prove that it's actually not just a meme.
Yep.
Um, because a lot of people are questioning if it's actually good enough or if it's not good enough. Because it never really did anything what people claim in the East, so they were worried that it actually is not strong enough to be.
Yeah, it did all right in the East, but it just like didn't have enough people that really liked it. But Kuzan, it's kind of funny. It's like a meme on Twitter in One Piece to be like every deck is like just some version of an L or Shanks where you're just like playing a curve out boring style thing. But Kuzan definitely feels like the blue Shanks where it's just like you're hoping to draw your cards in a certain order and you're hoping to win your die roll so you go second. And if you do, the deck is really good. And if you don't, the deck feels like it's terrible.
So I'm hoping that we get some more blue navy stuff for Kuzan in EBO3,
Yeah.
or at least EBO4 too. I would love to see a little bit more fleshed out for this deck. A card or two more, like a nice 5 drop would be pretty nice, and a pretty solid, maybe a 3 drop, like something earlier in the game. Like you do have like that missed
Yeah.
curve.
Something to add to the Sengoku.
Yeah, so I definitely think that would be a nice additive. And you don't need to put too many of them in EBO4 or 3 or 4 to make that
Yeah.
happen. Of course, we have Luffy again
The
showing
people
up.
that are good with GP Luffy are very good. It's one of those specialist style decks where when you're good with it, you're really good. And when you're not, it shows.
Hmm. I don't. I just never got into the deck. Like me personally, I love
Yeah.
purple, but I don't like this purple. I don't know what it is.
It's very simple because your entire deck is like 3 cards, but
Yeah, I mean,
everything is either search for Sanji puddings or like everything is either search for Sanji pudding 6/7 or it is Sanji pudding 6/7 Gum Gum Giant. It's like those 3 cards are your whole deck.
yeah, because it doesn't really feel like a purple deck really at all. It feels like a green deck for the most part.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit more purple than a green deck. It's just very,
I mean,
very different. I guess the green part of it is the Dawn minusing or whatever, but or
yeah,
the
and
Dawn
then
untapping. But
you untapping to Dawn is a green thing.
yeah,
So like you're kind of like being low on Dawn, like, kind of like Reishu. I guess technically you could argue that feels like purple because Reishu kind of is a similar thing where you're kind of
yeah, you have a
always,
bunch of different Dawn minus effects, and you care about being at less Dawn than your opponent or whatever.
yeah. So like you're always very low on Dawn in both decks. You could argue maybe that is a purple thing, but it's kind of purple to the extreme. Um, we have our first Shanks deck, top 8. I'm pretty sure that was the first Shanks, right?
Yep.
Yes. We can go ahead and look into that real quick if you want. Like, so 4 Lucky Roos, 3 Choppers. In reality, on paper, this deck looks super cheap. Look at this. So many rares. Like this top part,
Yeah,
these are all less than $1 pop. Like you could pick that up together. Like
yeah. Copper's
Rayleigh
gonna get reprinted soon.
and Newgate is back into the mix. I've seen some multiple lists not playing Newgate.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see it return. And of course, Marco's always kind of here. I don't own it, but
Yeah, Marco's the one that's kind of the returning one that's interesting. And it seems like Marco's mainly to help against like Bonnie and Rayleigh, like snipe their smaller stuff. But the removal version is definitely a little more interesting. I mean, I'm a Red Force hater, the Shank stage. But outside of that, I like this deck list.
yes, I just playing 2 copies at the bottom. I think I tried it once. Like the stage is okay.
Yeah.
Um,
But the 4/6 Shanks is very, very good. It plays out way better than I expected.
yeah,
It,
this guy's really good.
it's extremely good in so many situations. Being able to pitch a counterless card and turn it into not only a 2K, but a minus 2K for the turn. So it's like good against Zoro, helps you potentially combo with like Red Hawk if you're playing that in your deck. And it's just a 4/6 blocker. It's like the card is excellent. It's a real pain to deal with when it's in play.
I am kind of curious. Like, so the new Lucky Roo's coming out. Like, are you going to be cutting the chopper? Or are you cutting the Lucky Roo?
You probably do a split on Lucky Roo. I think you could like cut the chopper and just play the other 2Ks, and then you just go like 3 KO Lucky Roo and 3 draw 2 Lucky Roo. That would be my guess, but
Yeah, and this version did cut Yasop for Marco. A lot of
yeah,
the,
Yasup is not a good card. Every time I play Yasup, I feel like that card sucks.
yeah, the versions I've been seeing have 3 Margos, 3 Yasops, but they must have
Mm.
cut it for probably chopper. If I had to
Yeah,
guess.
more 2Ks,
Yeah. So,
less bricks.
but overall, Shanks looks really good, and it's relatively cheap if you're trying to buy into it.
Agreed.
More Kuzan. We have a Sanji list, which is the not the blocker version that VV Theory likes, but it is kind of the Doflamingo package,
Yeah.
which is kind of threw me off a little bit, but it's like the
Yeah,
spice.
I've been seeing the Doflamingo package pop up in more places. The like Rosie Nante plus 8 drop Doflamingo. It is really, really interesting. Rosie Nante is definitely really good, especially in like the Sanji deck. I don't know if I'm sold on the 8 drop Don Quixote, but this deck plays out better than I expected. I normally like the versions that are playing Jozu better, but you can just find a way to do okay against most things. I think you can get your matchup against Zoro to be reasonable, but you're still like really, really struggling against Rayleigh. That's like the tough one. But there wasn't a lot of Rayleigh at this tournament, it looks like. So
Yeah, actually, it is a very interesting thing. Like, what happened to him? Did they get paired up against Lucci or something?
maybe, but it just seems like Australia is just not fond of red decks. There just is not that many in general, right? There's one Shanks in the top 16, and that's it for red decks.
Yeah, so we have our one Lucci. Do you care? And I've understood this is basically like Lucci from 2 years ago.
Yep, it's the same thing. Nothing new.
Yeah, and then we have our more Zoros. We have one Nami, and yeah, that's it.
A
Tons of
bunch
more
of Zoros,
Zoros.
yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if that is because Rayleigh, I mean, just kind of got paired wrong and fell off, or if it just wasn't showing up.
It's possible that that happened to some degree, but it also looks like there just genuinely wasn't that many copies in the tournament as a whole.
Well, we have what, 2 Bonnies and one Lucci. I think that is Kuzan's pretty good into Rayleigh, or no?
It's all right. It's not great.
It's slightly favored, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not enough to make me
Aramaki is the big difference maker. If you're playing the 8 drop Aramaki blocker in Kuzan, that helps you win that matchup a lot.
they're playing
Yep.
one.
Yep. Usually I try and play 2, but
Yeah,
Again, you have so many searchers that you can hit it.
yeah. I've seen some lists play two,
But this version's playing Jozu to be better against Zoros.
and the version I tried to cruise on did not have Cavendish.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Cavendish in the deck a lot.
and I think I had 4 copies of Genian.
Yeah,
Maybe or maybe not. But yeah, Kuzan felt pretty good. It just didn't do anything that's gonna give you a wow factor if you're looking for that.
exactly.
If you like winning, but I guess it's not really caring about how much fun you have when you win necessarily. It's just some people just like winning more than that is their version of fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you like winning, you just play Zoro.
Or Bonnie in this case. And the one thing we got to talk about, just high level, this Friday, the new Ace in Newgate technically comes out in the West. There's not a lot coming out when it comes to support. Uh, there's definitely is going to be some in PRBO2 and in OP13. We do get the 10 drop Newgate, even though it doesn't really work with. Actually, it would work with this, wouldn't it? No, 9 or lower.
Oh, 9 cost or lower. No, it's more about the once the 10 drop comes out, then your I am Whitebeard deck, the 8 cost I am Whitebeard.
But that, I think that, didn't that also have a restriction? Or no?
No, no. The 8 drop just plays a 10 cost from
Mm.
your hand. The 9 one plays a 9 drop from the top of your deck. So the I am Whitebeard's technically a little worse because it plays one from your hand, so you're down a card, but it is 8. And just having 8 10 drops that you can cheat out for 2 less than they are supposed to cost is just really strong.
But I do believe it, um, not mistaken, you do draw a card, I believe, right? You
Draw
cheat
a card
something,
from what?
you cheat something down. I think you draw a card, don't you?
From what? Oh, no, you add a life to your hand.
You add a life to your hand.
Yeah, but you may add a life to your hand. You don't have to. But if you add a life to your hand, then you get plus 2K on your leader until your next turn.
Okay, so yeah, no, it doesn't draw you a card. This one draws you a card, right?
Kind of, because it plays a card off the top of the deck.
I guess the only way it technically draws you cards is if you play that down. I don't know why I thought one of them actually redrew a card. Never mind.
Yeah. I feel like this starter deck just came out way too late. It was available in Japan before OP12 came out in Japan, which was crazy. And we didn't get it until after OP12 came out, which is very awkward. But I think that it would have been way more interesting in the OP11 metagame potentially, but I think in the metagame right now it's a little awkward the blue deck, but I haven't played enough with it. I have to test it more and try a couple of different versions.
Yeah, and sadly, right, this deck, a lot of these cards work with 4 drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't really work with the new Izu out of OP12 or 13. That would be interesting.
No, but it will work with the Marco from Premium Booster.
Yes. For now, I'm just looking to see what new Whitebeard cards are coming out. I mean, this one's a 1/2000 attack that you draw a card if you have 4 or less in hand.
I mean, Whitebeard cards coming out when? In the starter
OP13.
deck or after?
The OP13, because I mean, that is basically a Whitebeard set. Kind of, because it has Ace.
Yeah, there's a bunch of blue Whitebeard cards, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was trying to figure out what cards would actually work well in this deck from that set.
I mean, mostly it's the 10 drop, that's the big one, but I don't know exactly what else yet. Or I forget what other cards there are. It's like maybe the Yamato, but that's not a Whitebeard card.
Raku seems interesting. So if you have four less cards in hand, all your Whitebeards get an Anthem.
Yeah, it's a little too expensive. Oh, it's mostly the Vista. The Vista is a good card.
That's a 6 drop, yeah.
Yeah, 6/8 double strike if it would be KO'd or leave the field due to an effect, and you discard one card instead.
With Whitebeard. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to be your whole deck, which is really nice. And technically, there's an event um, where it's like guard point, where it's like your leader gets +3 counter, or you rested on to make your leader unblockable. There's like a Diable Jambe for Whitebeard Pirates.
I'm not sure if this card is actually going to be good. I'm not. It's a 2/3000. Kind of has the pseudo protection.
Um, I don't know. It seems not good enough. Just because it's like it's too small. It doesn't do anything outside of be a little removal protection thing, and it's too small to actually attack, which is unfortunate. But
It's basically it's sort of like a vanilla that just draws a card.
yeah, that card's terrible.
It's
But
like,
the
and then
one drop
again,
event is not too bad. The ace one.
this is a vanilla with it draws 2 cards.
Yeah, but 6/6 is not stats that you want.
Yeah, I think it's this one's one of the ones you want.
No, it's fine. It's the other one. It's the one with Ace's face on it.
If you have one or less life, yeah, as your
Yeah.
attack blocker.
But it's still really huge. Just leader becomes unblockable. You then attack for 13 unblockable. This is just Jozu on an event. It's pretty bad.
Oh, that's what it was. When I was thinking of cards that replace itself, it's actually the event in here. No, not this deck. They don't play it. But the 5 drop event in the starter deck.
Oh, the one that's like draw a card, bottom deck of 5 cost?
Yes. That's what
Yeah.
it was. I knew some. I remember some card mentioned that you do draw a card. It basically replaces itself.
Yeah, it's a little expensive to pay 5 to get rid of a 5, but it's like maybe.
Yeah, just I wouldn't. Yeah, if you have to get rid of a 4 or lower, oh my gosh, that would be so painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not like a. I guess there's less white beards than I thought there was.
Yeah. The Whitebeards that are there just aren't that great. It's fine. It's mostly the 10 drop. The 10 drop's a really good one.
Yeah. Trash one and give one Rest of Dawn. I
Yeah.
give 2 Rest of Dawn each.
Yeah.
Two
And
characters.
playing this for 8 with I Am Whitebeard goes crazy hard.
Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to be talking about more, pivoting into my video. If you're interested in
Yeah.
watching it and getting into this deck, that's one thing I'll be doing tonight after this. But you have anything else you want to talk about regarding the competitive scene right now?
I guess a little bit. It's not in this tournament. I don't know if Eggman's posted it yet, but there's a tournament in Bologna, where I guess he hasn't posted it yet. But Bologna, they had second place Vegapunk. I wonder if it's here. Oh, I'd have to figure out. I wish I had the deck list on hand. But the finals of the tournament in Bologna, which was really cool, it was Rayleigh versus Vegapunk. So Vegapunk made it to the grand finals, punched through a lot of decks, beat like a blue purple Luffy to get to the finals, and Zoro and all sorts of stuff. So there's like so many other interesting decks that you could play. There's like Lim hasn't done well in a tournament yet, but there's been a person on ranked who's been grinding Lim like crazy. And he's been like top 100 ranked on the sim for a while with Lim. So there's like so many decks that aren't on the top 10 that you can still play. Like, Sanji made it, obviously. Vegapunk got second place, which is crazy. Yamato got a second place. So there's a bunch of interesting decks you can still play. And I got to look at the breakdown again for... Oh, and there was an Enel that got first place in Chile. It was like Enel first place, Sakazuki second place. So all of the tournaments have been all over the place, which has been really exciting.
Yeah, sadly they just don't show them. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Eggman's just busy with the tournament he was running, but I'm sure they get posted over the next couple of days.
I mean, did they happen today or did they happen yesterday?
Um, Bologna was today. Like they had Top Cut, so Top Cut was today.
Okay, yeah, that would post probably tomorrow. I mean, this one says yesterday, so it's on here. So I
Yeah, yeah,
imagine
yeah.
it'll be on here tomorrow.
I'm trying to see if I can find it somewhere, but not right now. There was a tournament in Chile as well, which was interesting, right? Where it's like, yeah, we had Anel doing well there, Saka. But I mean, I think that's it for the most part. But I think to me, this is my second favorite metagame ever. Like, I really like the 4.5 metagame when they like banned Whitebeard and Nami Searcher and a bunch of other random red cards. But this metagame also feels really, really, really good. And I'm kind of sad that we technically only have it until Premium Booster comes out. Then it'll be a little different. I hope it won't be too much different and we'll still get to have the same, like, a wide open format that we do now. But
I mean, that's not for
it's certainly a
another.
little sad to see how much OP13 is dominating Japan right now.
I mean, but that's not until October 3rd, I believe, right?
Still, that means we have this
You have a
format
month.
for like 6 weeks, 2 months, or whatever, right?
You have a month and a few days, like a week maybe. I mean, because it's basically September. So yeah, so you basically would have a month and then a week left of this meta. I'm hoping some things get shaked up. We'll see. I mean, in a month, you don't know where these decks are gonna fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a month it's going to be like pretty similar. I think the top five, six decks, like the top five decks, are going to stay mostly the same. But I still think every tournament you go to and every tournament you watch is going to be full of interesting matchups and interesting gameplay. So, like, that's what's important to me.
So what happened to it now? We should ask. I should ask that question. There's no
Um,
real
and
yellow
that's still
decks.
good, but people are just learning to play against it. Like, not attack too much, play around the starve strategy, and people just need to be really committed to play Enel. But Enel is one of those things that I think is going to come back because people are like changing their deck list. Like the Enel that won in Chile was like a hyper aggro Enel deck. It was like even playing the 7-drop Rush Enel from way back in the day, and playing like Hawkins and a bunch of stuff like that. So there's a significantly more aggro version, and there's still a lot of Star Vanel going around, but it just takes commitment to play a Nell correctly, and it does have some bad matchups right now.
Okay. I mean, I just was just asking because last week we did say that it was top five best deck of the format.
Yeah, I was probably a little overzealous of top five, but I do think it is a top 10 deck. It's slightly like better than the stats show right now, but that's just for this week. I think it'll come back in the future, especially once people try other deck lists.
But we should probably go ahead and switch off and go to
Yep.
closing. Um, we'll have to this will try to get with you guys regarding what we'll talk about next week. It's still open, I think, for the most part. But you want to go ahead and close it out?
Yeah, I mean, again, I really, really like this metagame. I think we're in a really good spot. Like, there's top 10 here, but there's more decks that are viable than these top 10. Um, there's a lot of room for deck building, Like, again, people might think, oh, everybody knows what this leader plays or whatever, but not really. Like every deck feels like it has a solid 40 cards that you play, but then there's 10 cards where you could just kind of play whatever you want and whatever you think is a good tech for certain decks you're playing. And there's so many ways to catch people off guard with some certain tech card. And that feels really nice, right? Where the metagame is more about how you deck build, how you play each of your individual games, and like what metagame call you make, right? What you're expecting to play against, and it feels really good. I'm really happy. I'm going to enjoy this metagame for as long as I can. I'm going to play as many games as I humanly can. And yeah, we'll have to see how things change when Premium Booster and all that other stuff comes out. But if we get more formats like this, then I'm a lifelong One Piece fan for sure.
So make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share this podcast around. Let's go ahead and get up to 500 subs. Do that. And for me, like it's definitely a little bit more struggling for me because traditionally I like red aggro or it's like aggro or purple, and I'm not a huge fan of the way the Rayleigh is designed. So like that's an immediate turn off for me. So when it comes to aggro decks, maybe my guess my go-to now is gonna be called Gara, just because I mean I don't know, I'm not a fan. Like I actually didn't mind Bell Betty, but I don't know where Bell Betty stacks up right now. Like
Yeah.
um, and of course purple. Like I don't really care for green purple Luffy. I like more black purple Luffy or purple Luffy.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll have to see. I need to do a little more testing on stream with black purple Luffy, just because of Nico Robin. But see,
There's a purple Luffy that made top 32 at Carta Magica. It didn't make it onto Eggman's thing because that was only top 16. But there was a purple Luffy that got top 32. It went 7-2. So I'll ship you that deck list. I've been meaning to test it too. But purple Luffy's certainly not dead either.
but after thinking about it, like I do kind of wonder maybe I want to try a more defensive build, a blue purple, black purple Luffy.
Yeah.
Just because Nico Robin's kind of a little bit more defensive.
Yeah.
So maybe it actually is a time I should be actually trying Katakuri again in it
Yeah.
and Lin Lin and see how it actually
Yeah.
pans out. A little bit more defensive.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Because then the deck I think goes long. We can disrupt their hand. We have Gum Gum Giant. So I kind of maybe want to see if that actually has more legs than the version I tried last week or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
which I kind of struggled with. So maybe I'm going to try that and go from there. Like I said, smash that like button and subscribe. We'll be back next week. VV Theories might be on and off on the podcast. Keep that in
Yeah.
mind. Of course, he's a very busy man. So,
Yeah. I'll try and call in some favors, see who we can find for filler inners.
yeah. So, and I'll talk to you guys next week.